everyone. Thank you for joining. This is the Oracle Autonomous AI Database Learning Lounge. I am Marcos Senesibi, part of the product management team for Autonomous Database. And today we have an amazing session. We're going to be talking all about Apex and the new Apex 26.1. So we have Jason Haynes joining us today, and he's going to be, telling you guys where, Oracle Apex is, or what it is, where it's available, the training options, hands-on labs. We're going to be talking about building apps with Apex, right? With the different options that you have. And then what is the advantage, right, of Apex basically for building apps. And then he's going to be talking about generative AI in Apex, as also the APEXlang. So throughout the session, we're going to have product managers taking a look at your questions. If you have a question, make sure to type it in the Q&A in Zoom, okay? And then we're going to be sharing with you links throughout the session as well over chat. Okay, so keep an eye on that. And the recording for this session, all previous sessions, and then the slides, right, that Jason is going to share, you can find them in the link that you see there, okay? And speaking of links, these are the important links to bookmark. So basically, how to learn about the live labs where we have, join our group on LinkedIn, developers, Slack, and then how to get started with Autonomous Database, right? And then on the Slack side, Oracle has an external Slack workspace. So the Oracle developers have. So I share normally the news there. I share information and also can answer your questions there as well. Okay, so you can join us there. All right. So for now, thank you very much again, Jason, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I'll stop sharing my screen and you can start sharing your screen and take it away.
Thank you, Marcos. Let me go ahead and get this situated. I'm going to share my sound because I have at least one video I want to play for you and let you listen to. So, and I do have the Q&A and chat up, and I'll do my best to try to answer some of the questions that are pertinent to the content as we go. We do have an hour, but it's going to, this is a lot of content. I have a lot of people that kind of joke about, how some of my sessions are like a fire hose because it's like so much information it blows you over. But I hope I can keep you engaged and interested with all this content. All right, so you should be seeing my screen. Welcome, everyone. This is going to be generally an Oracle Apex 26.1 generative AI update. Generative AI has been all the rage, obviously, for the entire industry for now a few years, right? Whether it's 3 or 2, it's more or less at least over 2 years. And we just released Oracle Apex 26.1 in May. So basically, we're 2 months into having this great new release available to everyone on premises. But the whole idea is we're talking about autonomous database. We're talking about cloud. We're talking about multi-cloud. And Oracle Apex 26.1 is just generally available now in cloud. I mean, we primarily focus in OCI on the upgrade being available for the always free tenancies and the early patch configuration database, but now it's available generally across the entire gamut. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. The whole message here is all about building intelligent enterprise apps that you can trust. And trust here is a big deal because we're talking about AI. And I know I can't see your hands, but if this was a room full of you all, I'd be like, have a show of hands for all of those that trust AI. You trust AI with your job. You trust AI with your company's reputation. I don't think anyone's hands are up, right? At the end of the day, AI is a tool. And for us as developers, for us using the technology stack that Oracle offers, it's all about learning the best ways of mixing the various tools available to us at our disposal to make us successful in, making all the things we want to build a reality. My name is Jason Haynes. I am an Oracle Apex product manager. I do represent North America primarily, but in general, I'm more recognized for the Western Hemisphere of the Americas, which is North, Central, and South America. And I'd like to give special focus to that because just next week or so, we're going to be embarking on the Oracle Latin America Oracle User Community Tour. So it's Oracle sponsored in part, but the Apex PM team is going to be participating at all the destinations of the Latin America Tour, starting in Mexico City, ending in Argentina 3 weeks later. So ultimately, I'll be in 9 different destinations over that 3-week period, talking about Apex to all these different audiences. Unfortunately, Chile was canceled, but I have my flight, so oh well, I'm going to have to hang out in Santiago for a couple days. In any case, let's get started and talk about what Apex is overall in general. Apex is a no-cost feature of all Oracle databases. It's really important to understand this, but it enables us to build AI-powered enterprise apps with world-class features. So all these world-class features come together, they come to life, and they are optionally built out by us as Apex developers with with AI or no AI, or with no code, or with low code. At the end of the day, you can decide as the Apex developer which tools you want to use, including Autonomous Database, to be successful in delivering all these solutions on the web. Apex is trusted worldwide to deliver mission-critical data-driven apps. I mean, that's where Apex got its start in 2004. Over 20 years of Apex. It used to be known as HTML-DB, then it became known as Oracle Application Express, and the whole purpose of it has been an Oracle database to visualize our data, give our users the ability to interact with our data, and generally just be able to build these apps that are secure and scalable, and these days, most importantly, they're easy to maintain. That's a big message. Making these tools easy to maintain is cool, is not just cool, but it's key to our success. Ultimately, we don't want to have anything that generates code. And if you're familiar with AI and doing the whole vibe coding thing of 2026, even 2025, the big thing has been vibe coding. But all of those tools, all of those approaches, even if you open up OpenAI or Codex today, you're generating code by default. You're generating gobs and gobs of CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. Maybe because you're using Autonomous Database or Oracle Database in general, you're then building PL SQL packages and a whole bunch of back-end code that makes things come to life on the server side. But really with Apex, that's really not our goal. We don't want to have to build all that code or use AI to generate the code. We want to have a generative AI approach that allows us to incrementally or from an agile perspective improve the capabilities of our apps, but without generating code. And that's what Apex is extremely strong at doing, and I'm going to show you that today. Now, the big message also, social media, we have a hashtag of ORCL Apex. Please be sure when you're tagging any of your Apex content to use the correct tag. It's key to making sure that the reach is there. If you're having trouble remembering some of these shortcuts presented in my session today, the quickest URL to get to those shortcuts is oracleapex.com/go. That will give you some of the top shortcuts available from our shortcut engine. Also, always remember Apex is uppercase. I mean, if you send me an email and it says I need help with Apex and it's mixed case or lowercase, I'm just going to assume you're talking about Salesforce and let Outlook, delete my email because I don't know what that Apex is if it's not uppercase, right? It's Oracle Apex. So let's keep that consistent, especially if you're skilled in Apex. If you're on your LinkedIn with your profile, make sure you call out Oracle Apex with all uppercase as well. So oracleapex.com is the next big thing to know about. It's our new website. If you've only been joining some of these calls about Apex in recent history, this is pretty new. Oracleapex.com is a new domain, and it's in addition to the apex.oracle.com, and also in addition to the oracle.com/Apex URLs. But ultimately, everything about Apex can be found here, including our customer evaluation instance of Apex. Now, this also is on Autonomous Database, it's on OCI, but the reality is some people refer to this as our free instance of Apex, and it not really is accurate to call it the free release of Apex because it is simply our hosted customer evaluation instance. It's at the latest release of Apex, the latest patch. You can kick the tires and learn how to use Apex. Definitely use it to experiment with our hands-on labs. Definitely kick the tires and learn how to use the new features. And in fact, as a customer, you may be involved in filing SRs with our Oracle support, and it may be one of the things they ask you to do. Well, this particular problem, is it reproducible on oracleapex.com? Well, for you to answer that question, you need a workspace there and you need to be familiar with it. And that's what this is about. Go ahead and, get started with a free workspace on oracleapex.com. You get the email, you click the button to create the workspace, and boom, you're able to sign in to oracleapex.com in the future. But again, if you want your own capability of your own autonomous database that is on always free, we have an always free tier for that. It works great. You can use Oracle Database 19c, you can use Oracle AI Database 26 AI, you can use the latest release of Apex there as well, and you can be completely responsible for all the inner workings and configurations of the database that you're capable of doing at that tier level, as well as working with Apex. So that is your always free option. But apex.com No, don't go to oracleapex.com to assume that that's your free instance where backups are maintained. And if you didn't respond to a purge notice that your instance hasn't been used in a while, well, guess what? On oracleapex.com, that purge notice is important. If it gets ignored, you may find out that your entire workspace and data have been purged, because that's part of the thing with this evaluation instance. On your always free tenancy, you are in control of all of that. So keep that in mind. All right, moving forward. So as I mentioned, Oracle APEX 26.1 is available on autonomous databases everywhere. Part of the process of installing APEX or making it available on autonomous database, or even full ATP, or even all the other tenancy options, is when you sign into the internal workspace as a workspace administrator or tenancy administrator, you will see this option when it is available. To know when this is coming in general, we do maintain a website, apex.oracle.com/go/ADB-updates. And this is where you'll go to learn when that update will become available. So I know that today it's available, but just a few weeks ago it wasn't. A couple months ago it wasn't, even though APEX 26.1 became generally available for download on premises. Well, cloud takes a little bit longer. It takes 2 to 5 weeks after that point, and we update that website to ensure that you're kept informed with the latest, scheduling of when that might be possible. Understand that it's not just the flip of a switch. The whole idea of making a new release or a patch available requires a lot of moving parts on Oracle Cloud and even on the multi-cloud environments like AWS, Google Cloud Platform, and Azure. They all have to uptake that particular patch and then work it into their system to be able to be updating into your own tenancy. That takes time. So once it becomes available even on GovCloud, it's really a one-click option in your tenancy. But a unique thing with Autonomous Database is you as a developer, as a tenancy option, you can literally clone your full existing database and independently upgrade that clone to test out the latest release of Apex separate from what might be your production tenancy. So that's just a really good takeaway of knowing what you have available to you on Autonomous. And that's just tip of the iceberg, right? There's just so many good things about Autonomous Database. My most favorite part of all of that on Autonomous, I don't have to read the docs anymore. I don't have to learn how to install Oracle database. I don't have to worry about using, SQL CL to connect to the database, and then logging in Assist, and then, how do I update Apex or apply a patch? I don't need to worry about any of that thanks to Autonomous. Fully managed, it is our flagship product on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, but it's also available in all the multi-clouds as well. It's a very common use case where we have customers that may even use OCI as secondary. They may be an Azure shop or an AWS shop, and they use OCI as, their backup, or they use it as another alternative in the event of even, downtime, or when they're working on other research and development or other needs across the globe. So it's very common for customers to use multi-cloud environments to be successful going forward, especially with Apex. So from there, we have 2 training options that are published on Oracle University. So if you want to become someone who's skilled at using Apex, we do have the Oracle Apex Foundations course available on Oracle University. It's about 3 hours. It's a great way to get familiar with the foundational concepts of Apex, and that does not go away, even with generative AI. Just because AI is the easy button for us to not have to read the documentation, and we can just click a button after we type in a prompt and get the answer, AI doesn't take all the responsibility away or off our shoulders as developers. Even as software engineers, we simply learn to use generative AI as an additional tool to make us more productive. But it is not the end-all be-all. We still have to know and learn how Apex works and what our responsibilities are going forward under the hood. Now, from there, if you are really serious about becoming an Apex professional, we have a 22-hour published course that goes into all the soup to nuts ideas of becoming an Apex developer. Now, when you take this course, and you are then primed to take the actual certification test at Oracle University. Now, obviously, this is not for free, But at the end of the day, if you're certified, you are then recognized as a certified Apex developer professional, and that's something you can brag about on social media and even include on your resume. So who doesn't want to be able to do that, right? It's just a great opportunity. Get upskilled today, especially when all this training is available to you at your fingertips to be able to just become that professional you want to be. And again, this might be an opportunity to complement your existing skills. I mean, I'm formerly a .NET and a Java developer. Now, granted, that was 20 years ago. I don't develop Java apps anymore, and I don't even remember anything about .NET, to be quite honest. It's been that long. But I do everything I need to do with app development by using Apex, and of course, I'm successful because of Autonomous Database. Now, having said that, if you really want to have fun with all this training, we have new hands-on labs, and we have a lot of super cool hands-on labs that focus on using AI, not just as a developer, which is really one side of the coin, right? How do we make you better developers using Autonomous Database and an AI service? That's one side. The other side is bringing features of AI to your apps and your data, and then making it come alive, making the user experience become something that they can trust. And that's what you can do with some of these hands-on labs. And all these hands-on labs are completely free. So you can get a workspace on oracleapex.com and do any of these hands-on labs completely for free. But you're going to need an AI service. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But just know that even though we've thrown AI in a lot of the names of our products, like Oracle AI Database 26 AI, and even Apex is known as the Oracle AI Apex Application Generator, but they don't come with an AI service out of the box. And generally, AI is not free. So if you want to be really successful in using all the tools I'm talking about today, leveraging the Oracle Apex platform for custom app development on top of Oracle Autonomous AI Database, you're going to want to have access to an AI service. Now, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure has OCI Gen AI. That service is available to you out of the box, even with the always free tier within that credit limit of 30 days, right? That's super cool. You have no excuse not to be successful with all these hands-on labs and learning how to do all of this for free. But going further, you're going to want to leverage your own AI service at some point, maybe your own tenancy options. You have a ton of choices, especially with Autonomous Database. Now, I know a lot of people use OpenAI, a lot of people use Codex or Claude. I'll talk a little bit more about that and where we're going with the supported capabilities that developers can benefit from going further. Now, beyond all that, you as a developer, you as a software engineer, or just you as an Oracle professional out in the wild doing your own thing, need to be aware of the latest and greatest things about Apex. And to stay up to date on the latest Apex know-how, the easiest way is to follow our blogs. Follow our social media posts. I mean, maybe you want to learn about getting started with the Oracle Apex development and VS Code. I'll touch on that towards the end of our hour here. Or maybe you want to learn about scaffolding Apex apps using blueprints. We have a blog for that, right? We have a lot of great content that gets published after a general release. Further, you can follow up with our newsletter, subscribe to our newsletter that comes out every month, and learn more about various things like our latest success stories, maybe some Oracle ACE stories, and even talking about some of these exact blogs I'm highlighting here on the screen. These are just some of the most recent blogs that have been published since Oracle Apex 26.1 was released in May. Now, having said that in May, right, we go May to June to July, we're already in August. We have an 8-part series we did of office hours specifically talking about Oracle Apex 26.1. That's 8 hours of content. Now, I don't expect you all to jump off this call and just start, listening to 8 hours of Apex content, especially when 7 of those sessions involve me as your host. I get it. You're going to have enough of me after the first session. But we actually bring the developers on the Apex team into the fold of these conversations to talk about their own features that they developed. So here you meet Karsten, here you meet various other people that are famous in terms of delivering this content, like Neil Fernandez and Martin D'Souza, and even Christina Cho and Paige Hansen. These are just a few names of the Apex team that are responsible for bringing these Apex features to life. But these actual videos are recorded and posted on our YouTube channel on a playlist. So from here, you can learn specifically about getting started with APEXlang with a 38-minute video, aside from the blogs, right? Aside from reading the newsletter. This is your opportunity to stay up to date with it all. Further, it might be a good idea to subscribe to that channel like you would with any other YouTube channel, as well as going to our office hours link. That's where the Ask Tom session configuration is, where we actually post our planned sessions. You can subscribe to our Apex office hours, in which case, anytime that we put one on the calendar, you're going to get a notification for when that comes up, just like you got notified of this Autonomous Learning Lounge session. So it's good to actually subscribe to that office hours. Further, if you do attend one of the live sessions, hey, guess what? You'll be notified when that recording becomes available. All of these links are available at oracleapex.com/go. So that's the shortcut URL that you really need to remember. Having said all that, we're 20 minutes in. What is the Apex advantage? Well, you can quickly create apps that meet business objectives with or without AI. I know the rage is AI. Everybody wants to do this AI stuff. But there are still enterprise organizations and even small businesses that are really going to be cautious about the use of AI for developing custom apps for a while. And even at the enterprise level, we have customers that are like, there's no way we're empowering our developers to use AI like this. Not yet. And they don't trust it. And what we're trying to do with the platform in terms of what Apex is able to do and what you can do with Autonomous Database and all the features of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is bring all this capability to life, even without AI to get started. AI is simply icing on the cake. With the help of AI, you can be a more productive developer. And with even Apex, you're still not generating code if you're using it correctly. So that's important. The whole idea of using Apex is not to generate code. And I say this over and over again because it's important. I meet a lot of vibe coders, a lot of people that claim that they're vibe coding low code apps or building out web tools. And I ask them a little bit more intently how that environment comes together where they're building these tools out. They say they're using Claude Code or Codex, and they're vibe coding Apex apps. Really? Well, are you familiar with our Oracle skills? They're like, no, what are those? Are you familiar with APEXlang? No, what are those? Well, then guess what? You are actually building SQL exports, which is technically not even supported by Oracle. You're at risk of having apps generated as a SQL export format that's technically not supported. You want to learn how to use APEXlang. You want to learn how to vibe code the modern way with Apex. And I'll touch on that today. We have those blogs available to explain how to get started with VS Code, and Oracle skills are key to that message right now. From there, we do have two different worlds from a developer. We have the IDE, which is the integrated development environment from Apex's perspective. That's all in the web browser. And we do now offer, since Apex 26.1, the ability for you as developers to use your developer tools of choice. That includes the Oracle database tools, that includes other components like SQL Developer Extension for VS Code, that includes, SQL CL, and that includes naturally your AI service of choice. All that can come together. But you're going to want to learn about these Oracle skills and the APEXlang skills to make proper use of that in a supported direction. Further, that whole token usage becomes a real big conversation point. We'll touch on that later. In addition to the developer side of the coin, we have the end user experience side of the coin. So there are two sides. So AI can be added to your apps to benefit your users using the features that Apex delivers. Most of them are, available to end users from you as a developer with no code. That's huge. So you just put a feature on a page, give it a data source in your autonomous database, and boom, you now all of a sudden give your users an experience where they can do all kinds of fancy reporting. We're just scraping the surface of what 26.1 delivers in Apex today. Beyond all that, with AI, you're actually simplifying the learning curve for a lot of your users to get value out of their data in ways that were never supported before. So more on that towards the end of today's session. Bar none, though, if you're using Oracle Autonomous Database or any flavor of Oracle database, you are benefiting from the Apex capacity of building enterprise-ready apps that get the security, proven scalability, performance, and the overall reliability of what has defined us as Oracle database from everywhere. And that includes the multi-cloud experience. Now, the overview of what I'm talking about is that with Apex, AI generative development coexists with the IDE-based development, but there are still many foundational things to learn about. So in fact, if I just jump back here really quick, go back a few slides, right, to this training, All this training is currently available at Oracle University, but the screenshots and the content focus primarily on APEX 24.2. And you may think to yourself, oh, that's old. That may be true, but all of these concepts are still foundational. As Oracle Apex developer professionals, you still need to learn all of these content points. And what's covered in these various courses is still important when you go forward to vibe code things with your AI service of choice, either using the IDE or using the AI generative method with VS Code and other tools. It's still foundational. So we are currently working on updating the courseware for APEX 26.1. So you see all the new screenshots and we dive into some of the APEXlang approaches, but that training just is not updated to that point yet. But it doesn't make it any less valuable to you today. So keep that in mind. Now, as we move forward talking about AI in the context of APEX, you need to bring your own AI service. So if you're not currently subscribed to a service where you have an AI service and developer API keys, this is something you need to learn about, because just because you're using Autonomous Database or using any Oracle database or using any Apex tenancy does not give you the features of AI out of the box. We give you the capabilities of working with an AI service out of the box. That requires your API key, and it may not be free, and it may not be totally cheap. It is very, very low cost, arguably overall, but there are things you're going to have to learn about as we move forward here. Now, having said that, the overview for generative AI application development squarely like this for the citizen and professional developer alike. The browser IDE approach is not going away. It's still foundational. But we can now use developer tools like VS Code in ways that you couldn't just 4 months ago. 4 months ago, you could not do what you can today because of the next release of APEX 26.1 that you now have at your fingertips. You can now use these other Oracle tools that we publish, which include the SQL Developer Extension, which includes the Oracle skills that are published, which includes APEXlang skills, as well as the interaction with your AI service of choice. Hey, Jason, which AI service should I use? I don't know. Which models should I use? I don't know that answer either. What about the reasoning level? Your mileage may vary. These are not answers everyone likes to hear. Another one might be, how much will it cost to use an AI service for this purpose? I don't know. It totally depends. It's so subjective, it becomes these kinds of things that you as developers or professionals really have to start getting involved with. You have to experiment with it. Now, to get started, it's literally pennies, right? Pennies. But if you have big teams, dozens of developers, hundreds of developers across your organization, you don't just want to give your organization access to a large language model without a lot of scrutiny in how it will be applied for use. So that's why having the choice of the IDE or the dev tool approach is really important. But going forward, it's still your responsibility as a professional to weigh, do I Google that answer or do I use AI to answer that same question? Google would be free. Using your AI service is going to consume tokens. When it comes to building an app, do I use the IDE or do I use the AI code agent? That depends. Your experience, the way you do things in your environment, whether you're a solo developer or you work on a team or in an organization that may have guidelines, those are things you're going to have to learn about and follow. Now, the whole thing with Apex is pretty standard. Nothing's changed. We are currently supporting Oracle Database 19c, but the big push is to go to 26 AI database, of course, because you want to be able to do vector search. You want to be able to do the JSON duality views. You want all those 300 new features of Oracle AI Database 26 AI. But the majority of the features that we support in Apex are foundational, and they do still work on Database 19c at the latest patch level. Keep that in mind. But one thing also to take away on this particular diagram is don't forget about ORDS. ORDS is always, in modern times, the Oracle Apex middle tier. It does way more than just be responsible for proxying the communication with your browser to the actual database where Apex is exposed. It is responsible more than just as a traffic cop for such, but you actually publish endpoints that ORDS can deliver by way of various configurations that are ORDS dependent alone. Further, ORDS is responsible for actually taking the APEXlang file format and bringing it into an Apex tenancy. So one thing to keep in mind going forward, Apex 26.1 is out. You're probably going to upgrade to it. I hope you will soon. You will then also be responsible to ensure your latest release being updated of ORDs as well. So 26.1 is pretty much a hard requirement going forward with new releases of Apex in step. This is important because in the past, it wasn't as crucial. You could almost get away with an ORDs release that was several releases older. That time is done. If you're in an organization running autonomous database or even on-prem, or you're responsible even for Oracle ORDs in customer managed configuration, you must be conscious of your release of ORDs that you're running, because that update on customer managed ORDs would then be your responsibility if you're not using the autonomous approach. Something to keep in mind. If you have an outdated version of ORDs, you'll get error messages in your Apex apps and even in the builder. Not necessarily breaking changes, but you're not going to have feature functionality like APEXlang import. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. So I know there's a bunch of questions. I see some of them are being answered. I'll try to leave time towards the end to jump into a couple of those in more detail. But going forward, have you heard of this phrase? The OG vibe coding platform? That's original gangster, right? Well, what is the original gangster vibe coding platform in the world today? I don't just mean at Oracle. I mean literally on planet Earth. We are technical people. What was the original gangster vibe coding platform? What was it? What is it? It is Oracle Apex. You know, even before AI, before cloud, before autonomous, you've been able to configure components in Apex declaratively just by configuring the options, turning things off and on, hitting save. That metadata is saved into the Oracle database, and boom. You are configuring world-class components declaratively. That declarative interaction in the IDE is the vibe coding of yesterday. That's what you've been able to do with Apex all along. There is no code generation here. That is a win-win. Less code review, less code debt, and you don't necessarily have to worry about trusting it, because those particular components are what we on the Apex team are responsible for and what we support out of the box. From there, all of these different components are extensible by our low-code APIs. We have a JavaScript client-side API, as well as the server-side PL/SQL API. They're all very well documented. And if you don't know how to use a particular low-code API, I pretty much can guarantee there's a blog about it or an office hours about it. We have videos and all that training available to get you up to speed on how to use these components. The whole point of all this is these apps then become easier to maintain. I know you're probably thinking, but I've been vibe coding with Claude Code and I'm successful. But do you have something that you did that way in production for your business today? Really? Do you trust it? Did you trust it? How long did it take? How much did it cost in terms of tokens, right? It's not the single solution you're looking for. The reality is the less code or no code means it's easier to maintain. It's easier to code review, it's easier to source control, and it's easier to trust overall. And in Apex, you have the IDE as one approach, where you have DevTools, AI, and Oracle skills as the other approach. And you can mix and match, because it's not like you fork the road and you can never go back. You can always go back to the IDE and import an APEXlang export or an APEXlang generated output. And the difference really is the IDE is about the data that's stored as metadata in the database versus what is exported from the database to be file system level files that can be vibe coded with the dev tools. So we're talking about really being powered by no code, low code, world-class components. And this is just a representation graphically of the last 5 years. Since the pandemic drew to a close, we've drawn on the maps region, we've drawn on human approval tasks, we've drawn on the ability to do, business process automation with visual workflow. Then we added with AI-assisted development, being able to create data models using AI, declarative RAG. We now have APEXlang and Apex 26.1. We support AI tool calling and agents, all with no code from the IDE. It's all declarative. You just configure it for the purpose. And boom, you hit run, the app does the stuff. And no code was generated in the process. However, the other side of the coin is the natural language to interactive report new feature, data reporter new features. And we can't forget about our community who have contributed over 100 Apex idea submissions over the years that finally made it to Apex 26.1 delivered as new features baked into the product. That's super cool. The two sides of the coin look like this for AI-assisted development. We're able to create these complete data models from scratch in context using the IDE. You can also then create the apps using your AI service, create new pages using the interaction with the large language model, all in the context of the builder. Now, just like we make fun of our parents or our grandparents who use Google, they couldn't find information on whatever they searched for, it's because they didn't know how to use a good search term. The same applies to leveraging AI. You've got to be good at prompting. And even when it comes to development, if you don't know the foundations of Apex and how it all comes together well, you can still be pretty successful if you know how to ask AI the right questions. But you still need to know the concepts. And those foundational points in our training cover all of that. So the 3/4 here is the developer side of things, which includes natural language to SQL development and generation. That assistant feature is built into the product, as long as you have an AI service configured. From there, we build our apps to deliver chatbot functionality, AI tool calling, as well as agent interactions. All of that is possible because you enabled an AI service in your app. All of this can further be embellished with our low-code API access. That's what you can also then embellish with the help of AI. So I get it. In general, Apex is all about not being a code generator, but sometimes we need to introduce some custom code or some configurations that customize a JavaScript call to a function or some PL SQL for the backend. All of that is possible with Apex, which makes our product and the platform overall stand out that much further ahead at the Apex, above and beyond what some of the other, competitors' tools claim to be able to do. You simply can do more and be more successful because of Apex. Now, as I mentioned, AI in Apex requires your AI service. So you need to be thinking about this. It has to be configured in each workspace. So you would go to the workspace after you sign in, even on oracleapex.com. If you have a free workspace from there or an always free tenancy on Autonomous and Oracle Cloud, when you go to your workspace for the first time, you have no AI service. You have no schema objects in your database. You would have to go to the Apex workspace utilities and then configure a generative AI service. If you don't have an AI key, you can't do this. So you need to learn how to do that first. Maybe you have your own open AI service with, ChatGPT. Okay. Apex supports that and a number of other AI services out of the box. So you can configure Apex with no code at all to leverage these AI services for developer enhanced productivity, as well as facilitating the functional features of your apps, whether it be a chatbot or RAG interaction based on data interaction with the help of AI in your app. All those are possible. You then can create custom data models in Apex right in the builder. You can create apps using natural language right in the builder. Now, just bear in mind, it makes no sense to create an app using natural language if you have no data or no data models in your schema. So really, it's foundational to understand data comes first. Data model comes first. Then you can use Apex to create an app using natural language. You would then reference the tables, hopefully by a prefix that's consistent. Sometimes we as developers, we get messy. We have all kinds of tables. They're not easily identifiable in our schema. Get into the habit of prefixing your objects, your tables, your indexes, all the different constraints and all the different schema objects in Oracle database, prefix them all. Like in my example here, I underscore them with EV underscore. All of those have to do with the events project that I might be working on. It makes it really easy to interact with the AI service. From there, we can then create pages also using natural language. So before you just get a wizard, you'd have to choose it. Now, if you're not sure, you can just invoke the wizard in context to interact with the AI service for the purpose. It's quick and easy. Building maps on top of your data has never been easier. From there, as you work with the features of the AI interaction in Apex, yeah, you can author SQL statements. If you're trying to build a chart and maybe it's based on analytic function results or aggregates, I would go to Stack Overflow or Google it, look at the docs and try to, brute force it until I got something that worked. You don't have to do that anymore. Right in context with the IDE, you can interact in real time with your AI service for this particular purpose like you've never been able to before. It looks like this. With that AI service, you then get an Apex Assistant button that shows up in the builder. Just like if I go back to my browser here, Here I am. I'm going to sign into oracleapex.com. This is the look and feel of 26.1. I'm going to sign into my workspace and hit sign in. This is the experience. Main navigation is left side vertically, but I still have App Builder and SQL Workshop. But now we have Data Reporter. That's another feature in Apex 26.1. But if I go to App Builder, I see Workspace Utilities. I go here. This is where I then see Generative AI. And in Oracle AI Database 26 AI, you will see vector providers because that's a feature of our latest database. But if I go to Generative AI, in my case, I have two AI services. I can see one of them is configured for use by App Builder. I can go into this OCI Gen AI service configuration and hit test connection. I then get the green connection succeeded. That means I'm then going to see the buttons in SQL Workshop, like create data model using AI. This is what I see with the Apex Assistant. I can do a natural language conversation to build out a data model. I can even have it generate sample data right here. It builds the scripts. I can then run them in the schema and end up with the code that I need, or not code, but the objects I need to then take the next step, which would be to go back to App Builder, hit Create App, and then choose to create an app using Generative AI. This becomes an option that we have because we have an AI service on top of a schema we have access to with those database objects. That's a win-win. So if I type hello world and just create a generic app, this is what the app looks like. Boom. I further have the opportunity to do things like adding my AI service. I can enable generative AI right here. There's all kinds of different features we have right out of the box. If I want to create a new page, when I do this, I now am brought to the generative AI assistant. Maybe I want to create a map page based on some other schema object. All of this stuff is now made available in Apex 26.1. So, having said all that, I want to just play this quick video to summarize these developer-centric features before I talk about the new features we have as users, as well as the APEXlang capabilities of Vibe coding. Listening to Steve talk about some of these features from the perspective of SQL Workshop, just so that you're familiar.
In Oracle Apex, we start with a data model describing the information our app will manage. Then, to let users find, visualize, and modify that data, we create pages in Page Designer. In every page, to configure what data each region should display or edit, we use the declarative SQL language developers have loved for 50 years. For example, on a revenue overview page, while defining a chart, we can just type in the SQL if we know it, but the Apex Assistant offers a productive new approach using natural language. To show the sum of the amount due for patient procedures in the preceding 24 months, group by month, we just literally type those words. Apex Assistant generates the SQL statement, and our chart's working immediately. On another page showing recent medical procedures, to let end users report on a list of patient names, procedure descriptions, total amount, and doctor names for patient procedures in the past 60 days with the most recent ones first, we just type in that thought. Apex Assistant knows how our tables are related, so it generates the SQL with joins to get the job done. We roll out our report in record time. While working on our app, we can ask Apex Assistant for help on any questions or doubts we have about SQL, like what's the difference between a join and a left outer join? Like having a personal SQL coach and mentor, it explains the answer with concrete examples to help us learn. Apex Assistant is also available in SQL Workshop, so we can use it to iteratively refine our queries. We start with a simple select showing patient names and just tell it what else we want the query to retrieve. Add a count of medical procedures done by each patient. It updates the query, and we run to see the new results. Add the cost of each patient's most expensive medical procedure in the last year, and only show the patients with at least one procedure, showing the most expensive ones first. This is really an amazing new way to be productive at building data-centric apps. If we write a query that encounters an error, we ask Apex Assistant to explain the error and help us fix it. Each interaction is a chance to learn as Apex Assistant helps us understand what went wrong and what to do instead. As Apex developers, using these same SQL skills, we can work with every kind of data imaginable. And no matter our skill level, the AI-powered Apex Assistant helps us write SQL, learn SQL, debug SQL, as well as write code using PL SQL.
So that's where context is king, right? Normally, what would you have to do to interact with the AI service, right? The large language model with a prompt that gets you the right answers. It would require a lot of backstory, a lot of interaction, chewing up tokens all the way, costing money. It's just not very efficient. And this way we make the IDE that Apex uses, whether it's in Page Designer, the code editors, or otherwise, way more efficient. Now, from there, once your app is built, you can obviously import other apps. You can use the gallery to install sample apps, but you really can export an app and then you can deploy it to other environments. So in the context of, professional software development, you'd have a developer environment, might be the Apex service on Autonomous Database. You then might have, well, a UAT or stage environment and maybe a production environment. How do you migrate the app, right? How do you migrate the schema objects? That requires some effort. And historically in Apex, even for the last, I don't know, 15 years or so, it's been on my mind a lot. How do I source control my Apex app, right? Yeah, we can export it, but nothing prior to Apex 26.1 made this a fun job. If it was your job to do code review or job to source control the app, the options were limited. They worked, you could source control SQL exports, but it was pretty messy. Well, now Apex app exports can be not only SQL format, they can be APEXlang human readable format. That is the default. And then you can source control those files. They become file system.apx files, whether you're using Mac or Windows. And then you can source control them with your favorite source control management tool like Git, right? So you can use VS Code, use all the Oracle tools, the extensions, and GitHub to complete the development cycle. You then have a CI/CD approach using the scripting tools of SQL CL like never before because of what these tools offer you. And APEXlang simply takes it to the next level. For an example, this is just one particular video where you see an app on the right in a browser, a local instance, with VS Code in the background. And in this case, Oracle SQL Developer Extension is also installed. This is an app called MCP Operations Console. The developer is looking at VS Code. The extension's installed. They can see the APEXlang export as separate APX files, and they're making a physical edit of the APEXlang. This was not supported of SQL files before. Since Apex 26.1, you can edit APEXlang files. Also, you can use Klein, Codex, Claude Code, whatever, to generate APEXlang format when you're leveraging the Apex skills for APEXlang. You can now see the refresh in this case. An edit was made and the change is made immediately because the SQL Developer Extension made importing the app back into the workspace seamless. This is what is able to be done today thanks to just APEXlang being available. And this example here is without AI. I mean, imagine search and replace. Imagine creating apps with various pages. Maybe you create an app in English and you want to make it in German or Japanese. Now it's just about prompting your AI service of choice to act upon those APEXlang exports as you need to. So APEXlang is our open specification application language. It is still not code. It's not a programming language. It's a deterministic specification language. So let me show you in another example how an Apex developer would use generative AI to generate an app that you can trust in ways you couldn't before. But you can do this in seconds by way of combining all these different tools, right? VS Code, Oracle skills, and tools with the AI service of choice. It might look something like this, where we have a specification document. Maybe this was generated by an AI interaction, right? You can take your documents, your Word docs, Excel spreadsheets, maybe your napkin diagrams, maybe your various other tools you use to do diagrams, and you feed it into to actually review, to then prompt the AI service to generate an application with. So this document on the left is the plain language agenda or outline of all the things we want all our pages in the app to deliver from business requirements. And one prompt can instruct your AI service to leverage the APEXlang skills to build out that app deterministically. That means the same results every time. Then you can trust it with no code being generated. That is where we are with Apex 26.1 today. That is the vibe coding approach of using these kinds of tools with the Apex approach with AI generation. APEXlang makes it possible. Now, it may take 15 minutes. It may consume maybe thousands of tokens, but at the end of the day, maybe this costs 10 cents, 20 cents versus what it would take in terms of human effort. Our time is money. It might take a human hours to do what this is being done, or engineering or orchestrating here from this perspective. So the reality is, easy to overview, but APEXlang is still a new tool, not a solution. It coexists with the traditional IDE-based development. You can mix and match. You can use either whenever it suits you. But don't use AI to do something that's a flip of a switch in the IDE, right? You're simply burning tokens with a match. And if you're going to sit there and ignore the IDE and just sit there and throw prompts at your AI service and hope to get an app that's ready for production, you're throwing gasoline on the fire. Literally, you're burning tokens. Learn to use both. That will be our key to success being Apex developers on autonomous database going forward. The whole idea of tokens is money. You'll have to experiment with various AI services, models, and reasoning levels to determine what works best for your needs. APEXlang is new to large language models. That means Claude, that means even Codex, all these other AI services and large language models, they don't know about APEXlang. So it's going to take some time for it to uptake all that stuff that's been published in the last couple months and become experts and not have to ingest the Oracle skills when you're starting a new session by coding with your large language model. So initially right now, consider this a bit of a honeymoon phase where we're trying to get large language models acquainted with APEXlang and more capable. It's going to get a lot better and end up costing less as time goes on, just like the cost of large language models is going down. But we're not generating code using APEXlang. We're generating the APEXlang, which is the deterministic results. And if you want to learn more about the skills and how to install them in your development environment, we do have that blog I mentioned at the beginning, or you can go direct to apex.oracle.com/go/skills, and that GitHub repository, the homepage, has a README that talks to you all about that. Now, before we wrap up for a moment or two with the Q&A, I want to also show you the other side of the coin. This has all been about the developer side of things. What about the end user side of things? This dovetails into this concern, tokens. What if your reports that you're generating depend on a billion row source or hundreds of data sources? Do you really think it's efficient to take all these data sources, the copy and paste of a lot of SQL, not SQL results, but Excel dumps or CSV files or XML as part of your prompt to then have the AI respond with an answer? Well, we all use interactive reports in our Apex app. It's probably the most used feature of all Apex apps that have been developed over the last 20 years. And the reality is, if you have a way of just allowing the large language model to configure the report, then no data goes to the large language model. That means our most often used component or world-class component that's used in your Apex app, these interactive reports, can now leverage your AI service to help configure the end user results of that report, not dwell on the data, not chew through the tokens, understanding the data, just to respond with the result reports. That's the power of this approach, and this is what makes Apex simply superior in this regard in many cases. So the reality is, this is an example of interactive report. We have a microphone button. I can't use it while I'm on Zoom, so here's the recording. But your users will be able to talk to the report without having to learn how to configure the interactive report in the first place. That in of itself was an hour hands-on lab or an hour office hours where we talk about doing aggregates, pivots, filtering. All these features now can be controlled by your AI agent. Right? Simple things, trivial things. Show me this data, show me that data, highlight this data, create me a chart. These are all natural language prompts that now are supported from this one world-class component available in Apex. And we as developers, maybe we're supporting Apex apps that have been in service for years. We simply go back to our Apex app with those AI services configured, and then enable the option to have AI enabled on this interactive report. And then all these new features become possible just on this one component. And that's really super cool. I see really quick in the chat, are we going to use Codex to create an Apex app? Yep, already showed you that. Are we going to use it to resolve Apex issues? Well, that's just a natural extension to the AI interaction that I already showed. Use your imagination. Because of APEXlang, all of that is now possible, and we do delve into that in our office hours in more detail. So from there, we have a whole bunch of new sample gallery apps. We do have an update to each of them, and some of them are very important, like the Universal Theme Reference app. It's been updated to APEX 26.1. If you do mobile app development, the APEX to Go app is another important one. But we're moving in the direction to AI simplifying our world. That includes the user experience for patterns. And we have a pattern catalog app. So if you haven't logged into Apex today and looked at the gallery, this too is brand new. So you'll learn about different ways of looking at example dashboards, browsing and search patterns, and item details, data entry, master detail layouts. All that is supported by this particular example. So we have these sample apps that bring all this to life, and you can install them right in your workspace for free. Remember that the gallery in Apex is sourced by our GitHub. So even after a release of Apex has hit the shelves, we can update the gallery at any time. So if you want to learn more about what's new in Oracle Apex 26.1, oracleapex.com, you can grab this QR code or screenshot it. It's right there on our homepage. There's a whole bunch of new features. We have office hours and blogs that delve into greater detail. With Apex, you can build these intelligent enterprise apps on Autonomous like never before that you can trust, that are continuing to be easier to maintain than ever before, and you have the choice of using the IDE or developer tools as you wish and mix and match. So with that, I'm Jason Haynes. You can find me on LinkedIn, add me to your network, email me direct, Slack me if you can. I'm on apex.world Slack as well as our developer Slack. I'm happy to stay on for a minute or two if Marcos is going to keep it open for questions and answers. A lot of your questions, however, I'm seeing are not Apex specific. I do recommend that you follow up on our forum. You can go to oracleapex.com/forum. And at that point, when you go there, you can open up the dialogue for any kind of expert that's paying attention to your post to answer that particular question you might have in great detail, which is going to be far better than we can do in the Q&A here in this hour. So with that said, over to you, Marcus. I hope that's been useful to, vibe code the whole future away on autonomous database. AI is just the beginning here for us, but it's our future for all of us that are using these tools to be software development professionals.
Excellent. That's right. Thank you very much, Jason. It was really, really, really nice. So right now, let's jump to a Q&A if we can. And then, if we can get a few of the questions, I know there are questions that are very complex there. So we might answer in writing to you guys, okay? But also I want to make sure that I capture, your feeling after the session today. So running the poll there.
That whole fire hose effect, man. I'm telling you, everyone's like, wow, what did that guy just dump on me? But yeah.
So we have a few here, like one interesting one that I thought was that if we have some automated migration tool to migrate forms to Apex end to end, because some people mentioning here that their customers sometimes do not have any migration tools. That's why they are not migrating.
Sure, I can speak to that really quick. So ultimately, AI and the interaction with APEXlang means people that build tools that do these kinds of things now can do so in ways that were never previously able to be done before. They had to actually leverage Java to use Java applications that take forms, complex form exports and reimagine it in other tools, including Apex. But now it can all be done with your AI agent of choice. You literally can use Codex or Claude Code. Here's my Oracle Forms export. Here's the screenshots. Do me an Apex app. It'll do it for you. So yeah, it's going to be even better. And many partners are bringing other tools to the surface that do bring all this together. Oracle's not going to do it because of the partners. The partners are making that a reality already. Now, the other question I see here is, are we going to use Codex to create Apex app or resolve Apex issues? That is definitely something I just described. We can do that. We can use a local Ollama Gen AI service to a certain degree, right? You're going to have to experiment with even Onyx models, because Onyx in general is more about the machine learning models in your database, but there's a trade-off. Anytime you're bringing AI into your database, you're going to be using CPU as opposed to GPU, which is what a service is going to leverage for better results. So all of this is a learning curve. Can't touch all the answers for all these questions you're asking, but I hope that gives you a little bit more of a well-rounded understanding today.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, guys. So, because we're at the top of the hour, we ran a little over. Please keep typing your questions, okay? I'll make sure to get them to Jason, and we get them answered to you guys through your email, okay? Because I see we have We have a few
Yeah,
long
actually, I can
questions
answer
open,
this one
right?
too. So in your autonomous database, when you sign into the Apex internal workspace, if it's available to you to upgrade to 26.1 or patch, you will see something that looks like this in the bottom right of the status message of the internal workspace.
Right, right.
Tim Fox, I heard something about being able to manage Apex code versions more easily in 26 AI. Yeah, well, that's simply because you can now integrate directly those APEXlang files with your source code control management tool of choice, including GitHub. Super option. Works really well. Oracle APEXlang and skills will be updated at the same time. Yes, well, APEXlang is a subdirectory of the Oracle skills in general, so we update them independently. But in general, you can do the equivalent of a pull request from Git to get those updated with your code agent as necessary, and that's covered in our blog. So just give you more information on the blog there. Just to put that on the screen, here's that particular set of information there.
Oh, sorry, if you can reshare, Jason.
Oh, I'm not sharing. I apologize. So there's that blog screen. That's what it would look like there.
Mm-hmm.
And the upgrade looks like this one here. This is what I meant to share earlier. This is what it looks like when you're able to upgrade on your autonomous database. And again, exclusive to autonomous, for no cost, you can clone your existing database and then upgrade it with all your data, all your schema objects, everything, see how it all works before you actually upgrade whatever that other tenancy might be, because it could be production. So that's pretty cool. And you can do that at no cost. And Apex 26.1 is supported on Oracle database. So it's supported for any other third-party use, including EBS, including Fusion, you name it.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry,
What else can we...
I tried to keep people asking questions in Q&A, but I saw lots of questions coming in chat as well.
I got confused there for a moment.
Yeah.
I think we've got them all pretty good.
Yeah.
That's answered live. The web auth passkey support, that's going to have to be a form question and answer, Roxana, I'm sorry. That's pretty in depth. And the same thing with the other Apex service.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Well, if there are no other further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Excellent.
Take advantage of the fact that I shared my email. You can find me in social media, especially Marcos, especially Michelle Malcher. You know, hit us with the questions. Make them tough. Get some forum posts out there posted. We want to socialize it among our team. We want to make sure you're successful in using our technology. Because without you being successful, we're not successful. And we all want to be successful.
Exactly. All right, guys. So again, thank you very much, Jason. It was a great session. Lots and lots of information. So guys, I'm sharing in the chat again with everyone the autonomous database links, just so that you have that information, right? You can come back to the general autonomous database, what's new, right? And how to reach out to us there. And then well, like just to thank you very much, Jason, again. Really appreciate you joining us, and thank you guys for joining us. I will put the recording and the slides and all the links that Jason was talking about as well, right, in the recording of this office hours, so you guys can come back and take a look at that on our main site here, right, on the oracle.com/go/adb-learning-lounge. Okay. Perfect. All right. So thank you again. Thank you very much, Jason, for joining us. Thank you, Michelle, for helping with the answers as well. And I'll see you guys in the next session. And I'll leave these open for another minute and then play some music. But I'll leave this another minute open just so any other questions you guys might have, you can type in there. All right. With that.
Thank you, Marcos.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I think I've addressed all the questions that are outstanding.
Yes, I think we're good.
Is anybody interested in Flows for Apex? Flows for Apex is a third-party BPMN 2.0 workflow tool approach. It's about business process automation, and we're having our next Oracle Apex office hours specifically on that topic. So if you go to our office hours link, you'll see this option where you can literally subscribe or register to the series and also see this BPMN for the Agentic AI Age Flows for Apex 26.1, which is currently scheduled for August 27th. So it's in a few weeks. Otherwise, we have all our other office hours right here ready for you to watch.
All right. Awesome.
It's good to see you,
Perfect.
everybody. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.